Hello friends. In this video, we will see how to structure an answer in GS paper 3 internal security. So we are going to use, for example, one question from the ACUMEN answer writing GS answer writing program that we have been doing, and we are going to structure that answer. So because you many would have heard that we should use diagrams in paper, we should structure the answer, we should have representation of current events in the answer paper. But how do you do that? That is the question, right? How do you do that? Where do you, for example, place these diagrams? How do you structure an answer properly? How do you have these placements of these diagrams and important current events to have enhance your answer? So that is a very key thing, right? So with a live example, that is what we are going to see in this video. So let us go into the video. So this is a sample question from our ACUMEN program, MAINS answer writing program. That is, the terrorism across the border is one of the very serious threats that India is facing now. Explain how organized crime syndicates, so how these organized crime syndicates help in the implementation of these terrorist plots in the soil of India. This is a question that was we had put today. So, with the help of this question, I would like to explain how these answer writing, for example, how for internal security, answer writing should be there. Because the source for internal security, many had asked, and what should be the source for that, and how should we write the answer is what we will see now. But the source, see, source for internal security, GS paper 4, keep it very simple. I would say first is newspaper. This is the most important part of any or these two for internal security and GS paper 4. Your newspaper is very important. Then any definition you want, you can take it from Wikipedia, or then any other doubt you have after that. There is an internal security book by Ashok Kumar IPS. This is a very small book, and it covers all the important events and important topics of internal security. But I would say this too will be enough. So newspaper and Wikipedia for internal security will be more than enough. I will, for example, I will try to solve, and I will try to give you a sense of how the answer writing should be done. Also, I will tell you how these information you will find in newspaper every day. So that is the purpose, in the sense why you should read newspaper, is that for writing all these topics which are there in GS paper 3, GS paper 4, it will be helpful in getting so many points. For example, here, how do you address this question? This is the most important point. In addressing any question in UPSC, you should have a very framed structure. For example, here the question talks about terrorism across the border is one of the very serious threats in India, and how crime syndicates help in establishing or implementing that. So, for first thing you should have is that this organized crime. So, what is the meaning of organized crime? You should be able to write in very clear terms. And any for this, if you happen to see a Wikipedia, very simple Wikipedia, or you Google it, you will have a very simple definition where two or three people or they come together, for nefarious activities or criminal activities, for economic benefits or any other benefits, for example. But here we are talking about organized crime which is helping terrorism. So then you can talk about terrorism also. What is terrorism is very in the simple terms. Again, Wikipedia, if you see, it is a political ideology. See, this is concept is that political ideology, and they use violence. So they use violence against people who are not concerned with that aspect. See, they are not involved in any of the aspect, and hence, but they will be the person who will be having the wrath of this violence, and that is terrorism. Organized crime is two or three people having to get together, and they making this for any benefit. So any benefit they want. But terrorism has a political angle to it. So the question is asking how this is being done. So you, after this is the point. You have to very well establish the definition, and this definition, if you see, it forms a very important part in answer writing. And when you have done with that, next you have to, for example, give one small picture, in the sense that the question says terrorism is aided by these crime syndicates, or these crime syndicates which are there in the soil of India or outside also. So you have to talk about how this is done. So full answer you are going to talk, but give one small picture. Let us assume that you are giving the small picture. In that you talk about how they are aiding, means they will be aiding in drug trafficking, they will be aiding in gun trafficking, they will be aiding in money exchange or fake currency exchange, or they will be involved in trafficking of people, trafficking of people. Each point, now for example you are going to explain one point, but this is a one pictorial representation. So this is pictorial representation, in a sense that what you are going to write in the paper, you are representing pictorially, and that will show the examiner that the way forward, this is what I am going to find in the answer. So but how do you, this is the point. Now I will tell you how do you, because many keep saying use diagrams or use these flow charts. How do you use that? How do you use that strategic location? That is the point you should know. And now in the hand, using this answer, I will tell you how it is done. For example, first I will talk about drugs. So first is, and if you see all these information you will find in paper. So first is how these crime syndicates are helping is that drugs. And when in paper every time it comes, and there is a movie also, Urta Punjab, where Shahid Kapoor and Alia Bhatt have acted. In that they talk about this drug problem only, which comes across from the border. So, for example, if you see, I will talk about these drugs being smuggled into India, and it is causing a lot of problem. But I will talk about, for example, how to use diagrams. This is how you should use diagrams. So I will use a diagram strategically. Like for example, see, and one more thing you should know. Using diagrams, you can draw fully also full India diagram, and you can explain all the problems related to drug trafficking, gun trafficking, money laundering, many things. Or else think about this. So I'll have a small diagram like this. I'll have a small diagram like this. So India's diagram, and I will say that ISI, Pakistan's ISI, using the terrorist networks, they smuggle drugs into India. So this picture will be there. So for example, this diagram will be there. So here I will explain these ISI or Pakistan intelligence agencies, how they use these Lashkar-e-Toiba or any other, see, one terrorist organization name I have to use. So I am using one. So when I use that, so any organization you can use, but ISI using Lashkar-e-Toiba, and as a result of which they fund these Khalistani terrorism. So this comes in paper every day. This comes in paper every day. Use paper. That is the point. One point this. Next, I will talk about fake currency, money laundering. So this is very important. Very key is the understanding of question. See, terrorism across the border is one of the very serious threat in India is facing now. So in this there is no word Pakistan. If you happen to see, this is not specific. Usually what we mistake in mains hall is that we see a question and we start thinking about only in one angle, but mains is about giving different perspectives. And if you happen to see, this is the point. It is talking about terrorism across the borders of India. Indian borders expand across a lot of states, a lot of countries. So your answer should also have all other countries. So for example, next point, if I talk about fake currency, actually you can talk about Pakistan, because Pakistan is involved in the fake currency network also. But what I will do, I will start thinking about a network in Nepal, or a terrorist organization using Nepal as an end route to get these fake currency into India. How I will say is that, see here I will draw another diagram, another small diagram. See, this is what is you called as usage of diagram. What is usage of diagram in mains is that many ways are there, but justifying an answer, you should justify the answer in a way that, now see here, I will draw like this. I will draw a simple diagram, and I will draw, for example, this is India Nepal border. So I will draw this India Nepal border, and I will mark this, and I will say that fake currencies are, for example, pushed through this route. You have to justify that. What justification, I will give this Nepal India friendship treaty. This is the very key point in UPSC, is that connection of with so many different aspects. Nepal India friendship treaty is GS paper 2, and it comes in international relationships and the neighborhood countries. This is the topic in paper 2, but this is the question in internal security GS paper 3. And this is a very, very important in UPSC's connection of topics. This is the your mains answer should not be a standalone answer. This is the why I keep saying that there is no GS1, GS2, GS3, or there is no prelims or mains. Everything is connected. You should organically connect everything so that the points will come in from different multiple routes. So when you are talking about here, I will talk about this fake currency through this Nepal. And because, see, why I am using is that because of this treaty, free movement of people is there. Free movement of people, when it is there, it is very easy for them to smuggle in fake currency, not from the Nepal. For example, Pakistan uses this network to get in this fake currency into India for this terrorist activities, So next you can talk about, see, that is the point. One point you should talk, and it should be making sense, So third point I will talk for, this is one second point. Many facets, you can talk about many facets. Next I will talk about gun running paper. In paper, for example, this is the point. Gun running I will use another diagram. This time I will use another area. For example, in northeastern India, I will use, for example, there are too many organizations you can take, but there is an organization called as ULFA, United Liberation Front of Assam. So, and National Council for Socialist Nagaland, So this too is involved in nefarious activities in the northeastern part of India. And using this Myanmar as a route, they smuggle in guns to fund, or they smuggle in guns to give to this Naxalite areas, So, in the sense that internal security, so Dr. Manmohan Singh says Naxalism is one of the most dangerous threats to internal security of India. And how they are able to do that is that these terrorist organizations have a network through which the guns are got into India, and this is the point. See, I have talked about drugs, money laundering, then fake currency, then gun running. Then you can talk about fourth, trafficking. So how this is done? See, this is the what is very important. I said multiple facets, multiple angles should be there. So I can talk about here. And if you see one country, I have talked about each border. So I have talked about India, Pakistan, Nepal, then northeastern. Then you can talk about here Bangladesh. So here I will draw one diagram. Here one other diagram I will draw. How I will draw means Bangladesh is there. And through this is the point. There is a Rohingya crisis. Rohingya crisis, if you happen to see, this is a crisis, humanitarian crisis happening in Myanmar, as a result of which people are being displaced from their own state. But the point is that terrorist network use this route to traffic people, or traffic their all these nefarious activities through that. And this is the point. That is why India was very cautious in the sense that this was a balance between humanitarian crisis and this terrorist network, So this was the argument which Indian government made in Supreme Court in relation to the Rohingya crisis. But we are writing this point. Next, see another point. You can talk about India, Sri Lanka also, because it is talking about the borders with India, or the terrorist networks and the borders with India. In this, you can talk about, for example, you think about it. So this is here, and this you can talk about this in internal security. There is a key word called as golden triangle, So it is called as a golden triangle. So you can talk about how from this golden triangle, how this route is used for smuggling to and from, and this route is taken for to Europe also. So see here, in simple terms, all this comes in paper. In simple terms, if you are happening to see this question, what I have done is that this is what is answer writing. This is what is called as using of maps. This is what is called as, for example, multifaceted points. Here the question, if you clearly watch, is saying that terrorism across the border. But this is the point. The key word is across the border. You should multiply this into different angles. For example, here if you see how what and all components in a answer should be, when I say that, see, all these things should be there. First, for example, the definition is there. So organized crime definition is there, and terrorism definition is there. So this is very important. So it is the start. Next, for example, there is a pictorial representation 3. You see this, how the answer that we are going to give, we are giving it in a pictorial fashion. Next, all the keywords, see, internal security, all the keywords are here. So drug trafficking, 4th point is there. And in the sense, one terrorist organization name is also there. This is 5th point. And one diagram is there. See here, 6th point. Next page you come here. Next page you can talk about fake currency. So 7th point. Here you can talk about, for example, demonetization also. In a sense, demonetization, one of the aim of demonetization was to remove this fake currency, So when we are talking about fake currency, so keywords, all these are keywords, demonetization. Then India Nepal friendship treaty. So this is 8. So next, gun running, 9. And you have this diagram. So in this diagram, you are talking about Naxalism also, right? 10 points. So see, all the keywords in internal security that we are reading, it is there. And Rohingya crisis, 11. See here. So you are talking about international trafficking also. So why? So you are justifying India's stance in the Supreme Court that why this was in a very delicate situation. The government was there when this crisis was happening. And you can talk about, for example, the golden triangle, and you can then conclude. So if you happen to see, an answer in UPSC should have so many facets. This is the key point. It should have different angles. First point is it should have very different perspectives. Whichever question may be, it can be GS paper 1, GS paper 2, whichever paper, then it should have this clear definition, very clear definition. Third should be very important is the diagrams and flowcharts. This is what is or diagrams and flowcharts, and then a structural answer writing. And if you happen to see, that is what we did now. We have done we have taken a question, we have written the answer, but how are we representing that answer through all these usage of necessary tools is what is important in UPSC answer writing. So and this is one of, for example, this is one of the example from the ACUMEN answer writing program that we are being doing. And this is, for example, many had asked answer writing of internal security. How do we approach that internal security? And this is the point you have to take into consideration when you are approaching the question in GS paper 3. And this video I will be putting in the Minds of Aspirant group, and many other. So for example, 2022 prelims, many are asking what we are going to do in that group, Minds of Aspirant group. The link is in the description box. We are putting regular updates on the prelims and mains. For example, how to write and what are all important components in the newspaper every day. We are updating in that group every day. So you can look into that group and it will be helpful for you. So please do like this video, share this video, and subscribe to Minds of Aspirant channel. And thank you.